Are you confused about color and what colored pencils to use? It's super easy to get lost in color choices when we open our boxes, right? How do you know which ones to use? In this video, I'll share how to master color in very few easy steps. Let's begin. In the end, I share some useful color mixes I often use to create depth in my colored pencil drawings. My name is Veronica Winters. Welcome to my studio. In order to understand how color works, let's go through some basics. Shade every primary color and then mix primaries to get the secondary color. Primary colors cannot be mixed. These are yellow, red, and blue. And hue means color, red, green, yellow, blue. And secondary colors are mixed by mixing the primaries. When we shade, pencil pressure is extremely important to get the richness and depth of your shading. So take one colored pencil and shade with it using different pencil pressure. Okay, now take two colors and use different pencil pressure to layer these colors in progression from the darkest dark to the lightest light. Value means how light or dark this color is. Download your free cheat sheet to study color. Link is in the description below this video. What's confusing for the beginners is to see what color is warm and what color is cool. And in this exercise, we will mix warm, cool, and neutral colors. Every hue has its own warm and cool version. For instance, a red can be warm and it also can be cool. When we get to warm versus cool color exercise, you want to understand how to think of color. For instance, I'm taking red, it's over here on the color wheel. But when you have so many colors, which one do you choose, right? This is basic red. When I take this one, it also in the group of reds, this is more like pink, but when I shade with it, I can see that it is much cooler than this red, and it happens because it leans toward the blue, and that's why it is cooler. When I take this red, I look at the color wheel, I can see it is leaning towards orange and yellow, and that's why it is a warmer red. And here you can see a very clear difference between a warm red and cool red. Your colored pencils have different value or tone, meaning that some of them are lighter or darker, having warmer or cooler version of the color. So you need to orient yourself by looking at the color wheel and deciding which way it's leaning to understand if it's warm or cool. If we look at all these greens, I'm taking this green and I'm shading with it. You can do this without knowing if it's warm or cool for now, and then just take another one and shade right next to the previous one. Do you see the difference? It's about the same tone or value, but the color temperature is very different. This one is leaning towards yellow, that's why it's a warmer green, and this one is leaning towards the blue, that's why it's a cooler green. And warm green and cool green. Warm because it's leaning towards the yellow even more. It's probably, see, it's this one. This is a much cooler green because it leans towards the blue. Let's look at one more color. Let's look at yellow. This one leans towards, the greens and blues. That's why it's a cooler yellow. And this yellow is this yellow, but it leans a little bit towards the yellow-orange, so it's a warm yellow. You can see the difference in color temperature between the two colors. By analyzing the light in your reference, you can pick the colored pencils with the right color temperature. Chroma means color strength or color intensity. Some colors are super intense and other colors are very muted. Next, you need to master color desaturation because colors are super bright. When we do oil painting, it's easy to desaturate by mixing complements. It doesn't work the same way in colored pencil. So the easiest way is to desaturate the color using grays. You can also desaturate the color with a complement. Let's do this exercise. Neutralized color is the color with less intensity that's either grayed down or mixed with its complement. You can take almost any color and desaturate it. I took the blue as the basic color. Okay, here I'm applying the same blue and I'm going to desaturate it. As you can see, the blue gets less color intense and it's also darker than this square simply because the gray is darker than this one. Or I can take the complement of blue, and the complement of blue is orange because it's on the opposite of the color wheel. As you can see, colored pencils don't mix to gray, and the result of the desaturation is kind of different. This desaturated color is a little bit darker and less bright. This is lighter because it's a 30% gray. Tint means color plus white added over it. Shade means color plus black added to it. And tone means color plus gray. In this exercise, we'll work on tint, shade, and tone. This is how you create different color mixes using these concepts. And the coolest thing about color mixing is that you can take any color that you like and study it by shading with other colored pencils over it. And to learn color mixing, you need to take every color and shade with white over it. When you shade with white over it, it's called a tint on a color wheel. So what you are doing, you are blending the surface and you are making it lighter. If we add black to this blue, we are darkening the surface And when you add black to your key color, it's called a shade on the color wheel. And finally, when you add gray over your color, this is called a tone. It's going to depend what gray you're adding. But you can see the difference between the colors. Think of blue, for instance. This is white added to this blue. This is gray added to the blue. And this is black added to this blue. And this is what we made here. And that's what we see here. You can do this exercise with every color. And here is green mixed with some white, with black and gray. Download these tutorials worksheet. A link is in the description of this video. The same color looks very different depending on its surroundings. Color brightness and saturation of the surrounding hues affects our perception of key color. When you see these color chips, it basically explains you this color relativity. However, it's difficult to relate this concept to actual art and photography, so I'm gonna show you how to think about it using photographs. The original image has the color of green lily pad in the background. So I made a cutout to show you what difference the color of the background makes. So we see it on the white background. I'll change this to gold. You can see that the color of the leaves is becoming more colorful, stands out more. And now I'll be changing the color of the background faster for you to see the result. This is on pink. You can see how beautiful it harmonizes. This blue harmonizes with pink and gives us a light mood. If I place it on the purple background, it becomes more dramatic. Light purple background, it looks quite washed out in my, and the color of the lily gets lost. If I place it on light yellow paper, it looks okay, but it's not beautiful in my opinion. Then when I place this on a bright fuchsia surface, look how vibrant it gets with the color of this background. And if I use gray as the background, which is a neutral color, middle tone gray, you can see that the color of the water lily stands out more, but there is not that much of a contrast that you want to see in your art. In this section, I'm going to show you how to mix rich darks without using black colored pencil. First of all, you take a bunch of colors from your box, thinking of the value that you want to get. Value means lightness or darkness. Just test them out to see what color you are getting. This one is too light, obviously. This one is on the light side, but it can work over the darkest pencil. Too light. And so you test your dark pencils this way just to see if you're gonna start matching the color. And then when you look at the reference, you want to start with the darkest color that you see and then layer additional dark color over it. And depending on your pencil pressure, you're gonna get different result. You want to keep it very dark. Some grapes lean towards this kind of blue, and other grapes lean toward red-violet, and you want to shade in a slightly different direction. And that's one of the darks that you can see, that you can mix easily. But I can see that it looks too blue. That's why I need to try mixing a different color. The grapes are reddish. I think this color is very close to what I'm seeing here. I can do this again. And that's how you think about it. And all of these mixes are a little bit different, leaning towards violet, towards red, deeper red, one more. And then if I shade with green over it, I'm gonna get a very dark, rich green. If I shade with dark red over it, I'm gonna get a very dark, rich red. And here you see basic dark color mixes and the color pencils that I used. When we look at the reference, it has a warm, dark green background. So we can try shading with different dark greens over these colors and see if some of them match this background. I recommend using heavy pencil pressure to fill the paper. And finally, I can test the lightest green that I think could work in here. If you look at the reference and these color combinations, you can see that all of them could work in different parts of the drawing. Because this background leans towards neutral warm brown, I picked 3 different browns to test. This is burnt umber, polychromos burnt umber. This is polychromos burnt sienna. And finally, Indian red. And here you can see that all of them look quite similar, but they match the background pretty well. You can mix a wide variety of light colors by either adding white over the basic color or mixing slightly darker colors with white or shading with very light colored pencils using a very light pencil pressure. This is a medium tone yellow that leans towards yellow-orange, and when I add white to it, I use heavy pencil pressure to lighten it up. And also I usually use a different pencil direction to cancel out the lines. But you can simply apply light colored pencils with a very light pencil pressure to get a range of light tones, because you have a lot of color around the highlight. If I shade with white over them, it's gonna look smoother. I'm using light pencil pressure and light colored pencils. And obviously if you layer the color more, it's going to intensify. And if you use heavy pencil pressure, you're going to blend the color. And finally, neutrals are usually brown colors. Neutral color could also be a neutralized color, like this is not a pure green. When you apply a little bit of gray over it, it becomes less color intense. There is a very big difference between this color and this color.